All right, welcome to the Paranormal Highway. We got Midwest and Chi coming on. We're gonna explore on what their opinion is on UFOs, aliens, whistleblowers, whatever. I want a different person's point of view. People who are not like 100% into UFOs and aliens. I want to hear what the outside people think when they hear a new whistleblower. Do they even believe in whistleblowers? So this is kind of a fun, awesome show. I mean, we all know Midwest and Chi. We all know they believe in the paranormal. They believe in the Sasquatch. And I'm sure they believe in UFOs from outer space. But this was fun. I get to go in deep with them, find out what is their belief in UFOs and aliens. And when they hear the word whistleblower, or do they even care? You know what I mean? So this is going to be an awesome, fun show, people. So kick back, get ready, go in the bathroom, say Bloody Mary 3 times, and I'll see you all back after the intro.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
All right. This is so fun. Somebody was asking in the chat already, are we walking again today? No, I'm not walking. I'm actually in my studio. Actually, I did, before we start, I did actually walk this morning, and I shot a video that I'll be uploading on Saturday. And I did talk about you both in it. It was Saturday's video is, I guess you could say, it's more of a thank you video to all the people have met, doing YouTube. I brought up a lot of names. Now, again, I told people in this video, I can't remember every name because, I don't know how people realize, understand that when you're walking and you're talking and you're holding a camera, how fast you have to think. How fast you know what I mean? Like it's not easy trying to create this conversation for like 45 minutes when it's just you, the camera, and this morning it was pouring down rain. And you guys are all going to see that, but it was more of a thank you video. And the funny thing is, Jane and Gerald, that it was kind of weird today because, like I said, I was doing like a thank you video. And guys, we're going to get to UFOs in a second. And then I today when I got home, I jumped over to Bigfoot Michigan Rob's channel. He was with Tech's Front Porch. And they were kind of talking about like thank you to people. It was like, I just did that today. And it was just like weird. And then an hour ago, I jumped over to Mike, Long Island's Bigfoot. And he was like saying thank you to people and like saying these are good channels. I'm sitting there like every channel I was jumping on today, it was like telling everybody thank you. It was just strange. It was just like, wow. Because I was like, I just talked about Tex and Rob in my video today. I said your guys' name, bunch of people's names. I Danny Stanton. I said good things about you, my video, my friend. And it's just like everybody was saying thank you to people today. And I was like, this is like I don't know what it is, like an energy thank you day. Right. I don't know why. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just strange. It was just strange. Every channel I went to today so far, everybody's saying thank you somehow. It was awesome.
Yep, we do that all the time on our videos. We always tell everybody love and peace, be kind to others, be kind to yourself. We thank them all the time for showing up. We're actually amazed that, we're marching up there to 900 subs and people are actually tuning in to us. We say thank you to them all the time. And we just appreciate them so much for tuning in.
It is. It's amazing that, even just one person or two people show up, it's like, wow, they're actually showing up and listening. This is crazy, and it's, and I kind of talked about my journey being 2019 when I was online, talking about the Mandela effects and moving forward, different communities. But one of the things I always try to concentrate is talk about all communities, talk about all things, not just the paranormal, not just Sasquatch. A lot of people know I'm hardcore into UFOs myself. I had that dream as a kid, wishing that a ship comes and take me away, just like watching The Last Starfighter, wishing that was me, like wishing like I want to play a video game and then come down and recruit me. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like when you look up the stars, there's something out there. There is. It and it's passionate. And of course, there's stories all throughout history that we have been visited. We are visiting. They're here. They're not here. Abductions. I mean, there's so many different kind of stories, and it's almost hard to pick and choose like what's real nowadays, what's not. And it seems like when you now in the UFO community, it's like every year now there's something. There's just something that we're all going through. Like in the last 2 years, it was about all the government panels are coming up. They're finally talking about the UFOs. You had the new Arrow group. You got all this group, and I watched the UFO community like all jump on board. Like, yes, we're finally going to get the truth. And I'm sitting there like, people, kick back. Because no offense to them, the Bigfoot community don't look for the government for answers.
Right.
Right.
Have you ever seen the Paranormal group going to the White House saying, we want answers. We want you to tell us that ghosts are real.
Right.
But when you go into the UFO community, not all, but most, they all look to the government to give them the answers. And I don't understand why. I mean,
I don't either.
You too can't help seeing the news of these panels, whistleblowers, and all that. I mean, do you two think the government will ever give us answers if aliens exist?
No. I mean, the only difference I can see between the paranormal encrypted field, the UFO field, and the government is we all know the government has specimens and UFOs or, technology from it. So we know that, but they don't have any, they never came out. We have the Eisenhower story where they made an agreement and all that stuff. So, but they don't have anything on, okay, they got a paranormal ghost that is an advisor to the government, or they don't have a cryptid dog man that is. So I think the tie-in is,
wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Why not? They got an Arrow group. Can we have, I don't know, a plus group that just represents the dog man and the Bigfoot community or something? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Walk Chewbacca up and say, okay, we've been advised by him for like 100 years now. So
yeah.
But it's just like every year there's something new. Like last year, the big talk was David Grush is now the most wonderful whistleblower there is. Then this year, the talk of the town right now is Jason Sands. Everybody's like on his bandwagon, and I'm like, people kick back. I did a show yesterday talking about Jason Sands, and I get all these comments like, Eric, you're too rough. You're too rough. You're too negative. And I'm sitting myself, how am I negative? If I don't believe the guy, how am I supposed to say that?
Right.
How am I supposed to be politically correct? I mean, I don't cuss out the person. I just said I don't believe his story.
Right.
What am I supposed to say?
You have that right for that opinion.
But it seems like people like to, I don't know what it is, like maybe they believe in him. And I always say you have every right to believe what you want. You don't have to jump on whatever I say. But I don't believe the guy's story.
Right.
And I tell people, I don't know how deep you guys like follow this whistleblowers and all that, but like Jason Sands was talking about this program. It was called the 23 program. Like he was on this program with Corey Good. And I don't know if you guys know this, Corey Good had to go to court for lying, and he admitted live in court that the 23 was all made up by him. And then this guy, Jason Sands, said he was part of it. Then they asked him in the next interview about that. He's like, "Oh, I misunderstood the question." Misunderstood that you said you were part of an organization that didn't exist. And you probably forgot that he was caught. I mean, yes, because of those things, I do question the person, but it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to listen where, change my mind. That's what I ask. I ask
Right.
somehow change my mind. Is that too much to ask for?
No.
I had high hopes for the congressional hearings, and I was hoping, okay, these are really whistleblowers. But then the more I watched it, I finally stopped tuning into it because I thought, okay, these are setups. These are people that are being told what to say, or they're lying.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, maybe they're being threatened. Maybe their families are being threatened, and so they're recanting their stories in some of the places. But I just don't believe them. I don't know why. I mean, we have whistleblowers from way back, and I sent you some videos of some of them.
And
so why didn't
we're going to show some of them.
Why didn't we put all this on their stories? Most people just brushed them off and didn't pay attention to them.
See, and this is the theory of mine. I think the reason why they were invited to the panel, because they all know that there's no truth what they're going to say. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, David Grush, no offense to him, everything that he have said is all secondhand information. He's never seen anything firsthand.
Right.
That's one of it. And a couple of pilots see things. Now, don't get me wrong. Pilots see a lot of things. Being in the military myself, my brother's been in the military. My father was in the Air Force. Every pilot through history have seen things. They don't know what it was. It doesn't automatically mean it's an alien ship, but all through history, they've all seen things that doesn't make sense. So it's nothing really new, but it's just kind of funny that this Jason Sands guys, and he's working with this guy named James Fox, who made documentaries on UFOs, and he's making another documentary with the UFO that he's in. It's almost like it's a publicity tour. And again, I was telling people that what these people do is they go on people's channels, because once they go on somebody's channel, it's like, oh, this guy's got to be real. I don't know what it is. Like, if you pop up on a channel, like real, like I'm not going to say the name of this person, but I did get this comment. I just heard Jason Sands on Space Out Radio a few nights ago, and I think he's a very legitimate guy. I love Space Out Radio. We all do. We all respect David and them. They have guests. But again, I made that point where all because you go on a channel does not make you real.
Right.
You do got to sit back and do your own research. Like I always say, like, watch his interview on 5-10 different channels. Does his story change? Does it, because when people lie, they will make mistakes. And like I said, Jason made a mistake, said he was part of a program that was proven that never existed. They do make mistakes. But when they come out and say, oh, I misunderstood, I don't know how you misunderstood that, people believe that. It drives me crazy. But let me ask you guys something. You guys believe in...
We follow in that too, though. We have our favorite shows, obviously. We watch you all the time. We're in chat. We watched SOR. We watched all kinds of channels. So if we see a guest on one of their channels or upcoming, we thought, okay, this got to be good, because usually most of your guys' guests or whoever are good. So then we start following that person, like thinking, that they're good. But then you got to use your own discernment. Yeah, you got to have your own litmus test against people. Okay, do I believe this? Is there a little bit of truth? Am I getting anything out of this? Is it?
Yeah, no, exactly. But let me ask you both something simple. Like, I'm not talking about UFOs that we can't identify, but do you guys believe in we have been visited from other planets, basically?
Yes.
Yeah. Go to our channel and check out my videos. I've got all kinds of things that I've filmed up in the sky that's not satellites.
And that's what I mean. See, you guys do believe it, and so you guys all, like when whistleblowers come out, it is interesting to listen to, because we all believe we want to hear things that make our beliefs become a reality, I guess you could
Right.
say. But but I don't think you or I are willing to do that and sacrifice our integrity just to jump on a bandwagon because everybody else does.
Right.
And I don't know why. I don't know why of all communities I see. I'm not trying to make fun of the community, but it seems like the UFO community jump on the bandwagon the most versus the paranormal and Bigfoot community that I've seen. I don't know why. Again, I told everybody the government is not going to give us answers. They're like,
Right.
oh no, they're going to give us answers. And then
No, they won't.
just a couple months ago, I can't remember if it was 3 months ago or not. Like Arrow Group finally came out. Well, we investigated finally all the videos, and there's no proof here that aliens are from another planet. Like, so I'm sitting there like, told you. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I don't know why people think they're going to give us the answers. I don't understand it. The government has never told us the truth.
I know. It's so weird because, they've hidden it from us for so long. I mean, we know for a fact that they took stuff out of Roswell. I mean, they admitted that a long time ago. Then they tried to change the narrative on it, to a weather balloon and all that stuff. But you keep having people talk about all this, the evidence that they have, or, Marcel's talked about it, taking stuff home and showing his family from the wreckage.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
yeah.
I think you got to follow the money. I think the only reason we had these hearings and these whistleblowers is to bring it out in the front, because they know there was a ground following of believers and abductors and people that are interested in the subject, so they can fund money back to their programs.
Yes.
If you put it out in the front for everybody and everybody gets on board, then okay, they won't mind us spending millions of dollars or $1 billion on this project to look into it and then funnel the money wherever they want it to go.
It makes it easier for them to, I guess you could say, raise taxes or whatever to add. I mean, because you had NASA, right? But now we have NASA, we have Arrow. It's like, okay, now we have another group. And it was so funny to me one time when NASA came out and said, we are now finally going to start looking into all these videos in sky. And I'm sitting there like, you're fucking NASA. What were you guys doing before? I mean, were you not looking before? I mean, now, and you're right. And it's like, they're doing that now because, they're going to need more money now. Because hey, if you want us to do it, and it's like, well, you don't need Arrow then. You don't need both. You don't need NASA. Why, save some money, take half of their money, give it to NASA or whatever, and do it. I don't understand why we need Arrow when NASA has all the satellites to look at videos in space. But when they made that comment, I almost fell out of my seat. I swear to God, like, they were never looking before. I mean, what have you been doing? Sending space shuttles up to the moon?
They've been creating videos. They're a production crew.
And listen, and I get it when people say, I think the space landing was a hoax. I think they did it in a studio. And I can't blame people for thinking that because you can't get a straight answer anyway from these organizations. So 4 years later, after all these panels, we have learned nothing.
Right.
And I remember this lady senator, when she was talking to Grush, when like every question she was asking him, I can't answer that. I had to take the plead on that. I'll get in trouble or whatever. But then he'll say like, but after the panel, I'll talk to you in private. And they said this on air. And till this day, I looked it up. They've never talked about it. So I'm like, again, they're making it sound great. Like, okay, I get it. I understand. You can't tell me in public. We'll do behind doors. Well, apparently those behind doors never happen. So I'm sitting here like, I don't know. It's a comic book show. It truly is. And I meant it yesterday when I say the truth is not going to be coming from them. Because first of all, why are they only looking at technically government footages? Why are they looking at the footages that the regular public has looked at? Why if you got Arrow, right? You have NASA, right? Have NASA look at the military because they had the satellites for that? And why not have Arrow start looking into the public's videos? Is that
Yeah.
Right.
And they haven't. I haven't seen one that they looked at.
I mean, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, we've had all these people talking about before. We had Bob Lazar. We got these people that were from Skunk Works came out, early on and said what was going on. So if we don't believe them, why would we want people now from inside a government agency telling us this stuff? Because I'm not going to believe them anyway, because I think they're lying.
No,
but I would rather much have an abductee from a case from the Blue Book or something that, or something more recent come out and say, okay, this is my story. And then let's look into how it fits into what government agency was investigating this.
Mm-hmm.
The only way they'll come out if an alien ship landed on a mall or something where they have no choice.
They still wouldn't
Then they'll
believe it.
come out, but they're never going to come out. They don't have to. Why would they? If let's just say, for example, a ship crashed, like you said, like Roswell, they have that ship. They don't want to share that with other countries, like the technology they're finding there. Why would they? So there's no way they're going to come out. And of course, everybody knows my theory is that crash in Roswell is one of the ships that was over the Mary Island, because that happened 2 weeks prior. But a lot of people don't want to put the two stories together. I'm like, really, people? West Coast, prior 2 weeks, they saw 6 over the Puget Sound, and then they saw 9 flying over Mount Rainier. All West Coast. What? There's there's 2-3 different planets that all just happen to have aliens all come to Earth within the 2 weeks of each other at the same time, and they never had any history written like that in the past. Like, come on, people, they're from the same clan. Wake up and smell the coffee.
Then we had our interview from the gentleman from Missouri that wrote a book and interviewed a bunch of people from his hometown growing up for I can't think of it now. I just had it in my head, and it's I can't think of it. My gosh. Gerard, no. Dang it. But anyway, there was a crash there 6 years before Roswell, and they recovered bodies in the ship from there and took it away.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I know what story you're talking about, and I feel that's all part of the same ships that was going around during that time. I feel that the ships weren't adjusted yet to our atmosphere that well, so they're having malfunctions and they're crashing. And I believe they fixed those malfunctions because you don't hear about crashes anymore. Maybe just here and there.
That is true. Yeah.
Not like that. And I feel they're all the same group. Again, we have different jets out there. So when people say, well, Eric, the ship that crashed in Roswell looks a little different than the one they say in the Mary Island one, I go, yeah, well, they probably have different ships too. One for exploring, one for picking up animals. We have different airplanes and jets.
Right.
They don't all have to look the same. They probably have one for different designs to do different things.
Yeah, and it might be just a drone. It might be just a ship out there to explore.
Yeah. If we barely have drones, they already have drones. They're more advanced than we are if they're here. I mean, if they're able to come here, they're way more advanced than we can ever have. And I still believe that the reason they haven't made contact is because they know that people on this planet are evil. We can't even be friends with neighbors. We can't even be friends with other countries. We have walls. We want to destroy each other. I mean, civil wars are going on around the world. If you're an alien race, they know this because if they were able to come here, they have the technology to see. Why would they want to come? Would you really want, if you're an alien, let's say Gerald's an alien. Gerald, if you had a choice to shake a hand of a president and have a conversation, would that would have been with Trump or Biden? You'll probably say either.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see Danny looked up. It was 1941 crash, Cape Girardeau. That was
Yeah,
Paul
Cape Girardeau.
Blacksmith was on our channel where he discussed the aliens, and there was actually a photograph of local people holding up the specimens of the little alien bodies that they found. But then that picture mysteriously disappeared. Somebody came and took it and wanted to invest or look into it, and then they never got the picture back.
Yeah, mysteriously disappeared.
Kashi Chris, I want you to watch my video Saturday, closer to the end of the video. That's all I'm gonna say. Just watch it Saturday. You know, where is it? I'm trying to find it here. And what's awesome. Oh, maybe I should show this. You know, somebody was asking me the other day, Eric, do you have a picture of you and your brother when you were younger? And I digged and I found the picture. So let me show this real quick. I'm going to show you guys the picture of me, my brother, and actually my father. Now, again, we weren't born with silver spoons in our mouths, so we're not dressed the best in a way, but that's a picture. That's me in the middle. Bob's on the right, working on the engine, and that's my father on the left. That is us. That is us. There's actually a story with that truck right there because we were hunting in the A zone area. That's mountains by the Sacramento Valley area in their mountains, and this truck actually the engine got blown out because my father was trying to pull out a Ranger who got stuck, and by pulling him out, he blew the engine. So this is a true story. So we're basically on top of a mountain. There was 4 of us. You don't see the other person because they're walking to somebody's house. But there's no houses when you're in the mountains where we were at. It's like deserted. And I don't know what since my father couldn't get the Ranger, he had to leave because something exploded on the engine. He knew he's not going to have that much time. So he got us all in the car. And what we did was he put the vehicle in neutral and we coast almost all the way down to the mountain. I mean, we coast all the way down till we got near flatland. And me and my friend Miguel, who was with us, was only 4 of us. I was like that, like sleeveless shirt. I was dirty because we just went camping. My friend Miguel was all dirty. And I remember us walking to a house and asking to borrow the phone so we could call to get help because, you know, there's no cell phones in the 80s. There's none of that. And I remember this family just looking at us, you know, I was just a young kid there, all dirty from the mountains till we get my uncle to come down and tow us back. So that was actually a picture of the truck actually broke down. Yeah. Just a little story there. You know, hardcore mountain people. And all because my father was trying to help a Ranger to get unstuck. He should.
Somewhere I got a picture of us, me and my buddies when we were in high school or just going into high school. He had a Chevelle, and we were doing the exact same thing. We were pulling the engine and transmission and taking it out. And then after school, we'd work on it, you know, until we finally got it going, and then we put it back in. So there's a picture of me up in my archives or wherever it's at that we're all leaning over the front end of the Chevelle getting ready to pull that engine out.
There is another picture. I gotta find it. I don't know if I should show it or not because they show all of us in the D zone area where we actually had our Bigfoot encounter and all that. Like the picture of the whole group, but everybody in this group all had weapons in their hands. Like for the picture, I mean, guns, knives. And I was like, if I show that, will they shut me down?
Probably.
It looked like we were an army and we were ready. But you know, we don't take a lot of pictures. But I'm gonna bring up this. This was something you sent me. You sent me a bunch of leaks of so-called whistleblowers, and I thought that, hey, this is awesome. Let me click on this. And we'll take a look. Oh shoot! What I got to do? Oh, hold on. I had to do one of these verification things.
That you're not a robot.
Yeah, I have to. Here we go. Here we go. Well, you know what's weird now? I don't know what's going on with the browser. Right before a show, I'm having issues where it's like nothing is working. I can't get on until I cleared the cache of the browser. And then when I clear it, of course, it erases your logins and all that.
Right.
Then here I am getting this already. And then, of course, TikTok, I'm not logged in, and it makes you like do a color thing. What two matches each other? What the fuck does that mean? What matches? What to prove that it's me?
They ask if you're a robot or not, but they don't ever ask if you're an alien.
So this first one off your link is, what's it say? Hula Cation hippies.
Yeah, but
this is 1997. This is an Army intelligence officer, Colonel Philip J. Corso, with George Knapp in 1997. All right, let's take a look.
I even told you, I think that I was not interested in seeing UFOs. I was all interested in what was in those UFOs.
Anyone familiar with UFO lore will recognize at least some of what Phil Corso says. Reports of crashed saucers, recovered alien bodies, a government cover-up. But in 50 years of UFO controversy, no one of his rank or stature has ever publicly proclaimed this level of inside knowledge. Corso was an intelligence officer inside the Eisenhower White House, assigned to the National Security Council. He also served as Inspector General of the 7th Army and commanded the 1st Nuclear Battalion in Germany. His credentials are impeccable, his record spotless. But did he really handle wreckage from a flying saucer?
They came from a flying saucer.
How do you know that?
Because they were marked on the files as coming from New Mexico.
Roswell.
Yeah, Roswell.
Roswell, of course, is the most famous.
First question is, people in the chat, what do you guys know of them? And first of all, do you guys believe this person before we go forward with the video? You know, and a lot of people used to ask this, and like, how come everybody comes out with evidence or whatever, and they're all older? And I always say this. I always tell people that, listen, older people versus younger people, I know it sounds weird, but I believe the older people before I believe the younger person. The ones who are in the military. And I always, and this is the reason why, you know, when you're older, you know, a lot of times you have pensions from the military, could be service connected. You get medical through the rest of your life if you've been in the military a certain amount of time. So if you're going to leak stuff, you're not going to leak it while you're still young with that stuff, because you could lose it all.
Right.
If you leak out any kind of information, you will go to prison. And there's a lot of people in the UFO community who will say, no, Eric, because if they arrest them and it makes their story more true, the government don't give a shit about you. They don't think that. I don't know why they think that. But so when they're older, like that guy's age, you got nothing to lose almost. I'm not saying because he's one step closer to the grave, but you know what I mean? Like, don't care no more. But like David Grush, if he was telling the truth, all his benefits are gone. He's got service connected disability. If people don't know that, he's got PTSD, which I do. The government, I'm not ashamed to say that. Mike, Long Island Bigfoot, he admits it that he has it all too. So would he really admit that unless you're guaranteed to make millions off these documentaries, but you're not guaranteed that?
Right.
So that's why I'm more in line to believe the older people, because they got less to lose when you're younger, where you have everything to lose. I mean, your benefits are everything.
And compared to Grush and all these that came out in the hearing, how many people have actually heard this guy's name? I mean, he's very, very unknown. You know, nobody ever talks about these interviews that he's had.
No, they don't. Let me see if anybody has been talking about him. Corso wrote a book TVE day after Roswell. He's for real. Okay. So one person believes he's real. Corso is legit. And I'm more in line that he is more legit versus anybody else I've really heard. But let's finish this now. I always like to get people's flavor.
Famous alleged UFO crash site in history, a story which the Air Force has tried to bury once and for all. Corso says that Army Research and Development not only had pieces of wreckage in its possession, but also reports and photos from an autopsy of an alien cadaver.
I had the reports. See, the Walter Reed, the laboratory Walter Reed was our laboratory. We financed it. He was part of the guidance system, or it, whatever it is, because it has no sex organ thing. It was part of the guide system. That's why we failed in propulsion.
Corso says the Army kept the material and bodies secret because of potential enemies within the U.S. government, interests which might take over the program and destroy the reputations of those involved. He thinks the secrets are still being kept, but doesn't know by whom. Twice in the past few years, Corso has testified before Congress concerning secret activities within the Eisenhower White House. He's been thoroughly checked out and his information confirmed. But his most sensational allegation is one which American industry isn't going to like at all. Corso says the Army spoon-fed recovered alien technology to American industry, resulting in some of our greatest technological advances.
The number one was the integrated circuit. Number two in importance was laser, because I had some laser instruments also. Then fiber optics.
Such sensational claims have invited harsh criticism, but Corso doesn't mind. He names others who knew what he knows, and it's an exclusive club, he says.
General Marshall, General Trudeau, General MacArthur, von Braun, Olbrich.
You know, the whole thing it is so interesting with these people because when you think about Roswell, and I'm going to bring Roswell and Mary Island into this both because there's two things they both had. Military was there. They were present. Like you said, in Roswell, they were there. The guy said, the famous, he said, he doesn't know what the kind of metal this is. And then the next day he changed his whole story that it was an air balloon. Well, air balloon material lighter. I think you would have known that this was something he hasn't seen. You go to Mary Island. They sent two general sergeants down to interview the person. President Hoover pimped them personally. Why would you do that if the story's a hoax? Why would there be military on Vashon Island, Mary Island, picking up pieces from this? Why were there men in black showing up? The records show a dog did die, a kid did get a broken arm, and on record at a hotel in Tacoma that the military was interviewing these people about the sighting. And then a T-bomber takes off. Military T-bomber. First time on American soil that a T-bomber has ever crashed in Washington, carrying something from it. Roswell and Mary Island both had military people there. Proven. It's proven.
Right.
So when I hear him, talk about that, they're saying facts that we can back up. You know what I mean? Even if he's exaggerating, but the story he's saying, the timelines does line up.
And he's not trying to make a name for himself. He's already accomplished probably everything he's ever wanted to accomplish. He's just telling the story, how it happens, and information that's been kept secret all this time.
Yep. Yes, Carla. Yes, that's why you get a lot of deathbed confessions. They have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a couple of things that I had to sign. Everybody has to sign in the military that you can't say. And right now, I go to the VA almost every other week. I got an appointment Friday and Monday to get a special leg brace for my walks. I have a lot to lose if I had something like maybe as big as them to come out with. I have to really sit there and can I do that? Can I sacrifice money? Put food on the table. I mean, that's a lot of things to think about, and stress is the most most evil thing on this planet is having that stress. So, so it's and again, crushing them. Yeah, you can't get in trouble for lying in their Congress, but of course he took the fifth on almost all the questions. And when he goes on public air on TV channels, you can't get in trouble for lying. Like oh, I heard about this secret project. If that secret project has never existed, he's never given out top secret information, so he doesn't get arrested. I don't know why people can't understand that. Look at that kid. What's his name? The kid who got who's in the armed forces, the Air National Guard, and he's actually still behind bars right now for leaking information online.
Oh, wow.
What's that kid's name? I forgot. Somebody in the chat. You guys know what I'm talking about. He's that kid last year, 2 years ago, that leaked out, and this guy's behind bars. Snowden is living in Russia.
Right.
That's what happens to real whistleblowers.
Or you have a mysterious accident, and then you're no longer alive.
Right.
Yeah, freaky geek. I'm forgetting his name. Air National Guard. I know somebody will find it.
Danny will find it.
Bars. He's behind bars right now because he leaked. Or they disappear. Yeah, people do disappear. Real people disappear. Who was it? The famous swimmer? You guys know. We know this. You guys are my age. The famous General Patton wanted to. After World War II, he knew that Russia was weak, and he wanted to. He goes, "Let's take over Russia now. We got the power. We got it. We could take over Russia." And what happens to him? Dies in a mysterious car accident.
Yep.
Really? Really? They knew he was trouble, and the story goes that Patton was ready to release stuff to get us into that war. That's what happens to real whistleblowers. Was he military? Maybe. No, he was Air National Guard. He wasn't. He's a weekend warrior. Air National Guard. I bet you I could type that in. Air National Guard who got arrested for leaking top secret information.
So the one thing about the government, either they put you off as a nut or a conspiracy theory so nobody will believe you, or they think that you're no threat to them. But if you're legitimate, you don't stick around very long.
Nope.
Right.
Air National Guard arrested, accused of leaking classified information. Here it is. I found it. The guy's name was Jack Terrier.
Yep. Danny and Freaky said it in chat.
Oh, they said it. Yeah.
Yeah, they just now said it.
Yeah, he's 21 years old. Massachusetts Air National Guard member was taken into custody by heavily armed FBI agents. He's accused of posting hundreds of classified documents online. That's my point. That's what happens to a real whistleblower.
Yeah.
So when I hear Jason Sands, the first thing I ask myself, well, did he get arrested? No. So what is he leaking then?
Right.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
if he's leaking anything, then it's not top secret. Because so it'd be like you and all three of us get together, like, hey, we're gonna leak this stuff, but let's tell everybody that we're in the UFO community. And that alone will get us off. Because they won't touch us because they know our stories becomes more reality if we say we're in the UFO community. You know what I mean? I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be a nayer, but I just want the truth. What's out there? I think every one of us wants the truth. I mean, Jane, like you said, you caught a lot of mysterious flying things that you don't recognize up in the sky.
Yeah. I've seen giant power-ups and they disappear on me. I've got the Big Dipper activity that you got hundreds and thousands coming in for an hour. I can't explain any of this. That's my proof. I don't need the government telling me that what I'm seeing up there.
Yeah, you don't. And again, if they tell you something, you don't even know that's the truth.
Exactly. I don't
Right.
believe anything that they say. I wanted to share. I have an uncle that he's either late 80s or early 90s. He was in the Air Force. And even back in the 70s, when I would be talking to my aunt on the phone, we'd hear clicking in the phone, and I would make comments. And she said, "Oh, that's the government listening in on us." And she just passed away a few years ago. And the last phone call I had with her, I said, "Did Uncle so and so," which I won't say his name, "has he ever shared anything with you?" And she went, "Nope, never, never, not even to his wife. The only thing that we know of is a few weeks after the Phoenix lights. So they lived in Washington at that time, around where you're at. And the same thing, a black triangle was flying in the Washington state area. My aunt and uncle both saw it. They were watching it. And then when it went around a ridge and went down, they went around and it was gone. All my uncle ever said was, "That's not ours." That's the only thing he's ever said. "That's not
Yeah.
ours."
And that's all
But he
about
will
you're
not,
allowed
to
to
this day,
say.
he will not share nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even with his wife my aunt that passed away.
Listen, there's a lot of loyalty. Trust me, I'm in the military. There's certain loyalties that you have. My father was in the Air Force. I don't know if you guys know this. Danny Stanton's father was in the Air Force. It's kind of cool because Danny's father was in the Air Force. My father's in the Air Force, and we both saw Bigfoot at the age of 11. I just think that's kind of a I know. I was like,
Yeah.
that's not really a connection. I think it is. I think that's cool. That's
My
cool.
dad was in the Air Force in World War II, but I didn't see Bigfoot at 11.
I have a cousin. His name is he's Kennywood. He's my cousin. I mean, and he was actually in the Marines. He was a sniper. And till this day, he's my age, so he's been out for a long time. He was actually a highway patrolman officer, just retired. To this day, he never told us one story on any of his missions because they can't.
Right.
Not even to us. The ones that we all saw Bigfoot together, every single one of us, he was there, but he cannot say one thing because he will lose everything because he messed up his knees from all the times he jumped from the helicopters doing these missions. So if he came out and said one thing about a mission, he loses everything.
Right.
We all know how much medical it is out there in America, even with the insurance. I think I told people that my son pays $600 a month to his company just to have medical insurance for his family, for his wife and kid. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's horrible.
You know what I mean? So this is part of the reason why you got to think twice when somebody comes out as a whistleblower. And now that guy is also civilian. A lot of people might not know this. A lot of military bases, it's just not all military people. A lot of the people who work on there are civilians.
Right.
So
you'll have engineers and scientists and all kinds of people out from the personal sector they might be, some of them might be under contracts, so they'll have different rules than military people. They'll have a list of what they can and can't say.
Look, I didn't know this. Danny has a brother named Robert too. That's Dr. Wu.
That's funny.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. And that's why I always say you always got to study the people. Let's check out another TikTok video that's on that link list. Let's go to this next one here. Let's click here. Okay, now hey, everybody in the chat, when I click on it, it opens up another tab. So I always got to go back out and go into the next tab. But oh well, it is. Oh, not that one. There we go. Share. All right.
Wow, he's old.
Again, another older person.
This is a deathbed confession.
Exactly. This is see, you're lining this up so perfectly, you both, because you sent me these links, and people, I didn't look at them all at once. I like to look at them all together for once, like be raw. I don't want to study it. So this is my first time looking at the links he sent me. So let's check out this one.
Rather than they would give me pieces of UFOs and I would come to my laboratories. I had the laboratories of Lockheed and every place else. So I would do that, but I would get pieces of UFOs. For example, I have 3 little pieces of UFOs down underneath.
I'm trying to see if I can.
Yeah, I couldn't see it very well
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, can I get that bigger? I was trying to see if I could widen it. It won't let me widen the picture, people. I apologize. I apologize, but I'm sure you guys here. I'll tell you what, people in the chat. I'll put this link in the chat, and maybe on your computers, you guys can. And I'm sure if you guys type in the name and stuff, you could probably see that picture on an individual image or something. So I'm sure they could do that.
I'm pretty sure I just typed in whistleblowers and all these videos started coming up from these old guys and these deathbed confessions. Wasn't even the new people. Wasn't Grush or any of them. It was all these other guys.
Yeah, and this guy actually has a picture. God, I wish I could
Wow.
blow that up, but I'll look it up on the side.
It's a thing that looks like a quartz crystal.
And he died in 2014.
Notice that that is my hand, and it is giving weight. It says that it weighs 100 grams. Now, without those 3 items, when I take the UFO material away, notice that the 3 UFO items are gone. But also notice that the weight of the crystal is now 650 grams.
Now, people, the whole video is 7 minutes and 64 seconds. So you guys could just click on the link. But again, here's another older person. He's already passed away 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. So, and again, another older person finally coming out with the truth when he probably knows at that time what are they going to do to him? Put him in jail now? I mean,
right.
I mean,
And
now
Area 51 again, another Roswell connection.
Yeah.
With him, they could treat him like, oh, he's just another senile guy that wants this. Now they could play that game. He's I guess you could say he's harmless. But these are the people you should really been looking out for. So let's go to a third one.
I can honestly say I've never heard of Boyd Bushman. I've never heard his story come out. I've never heard him being as a whistleblower or until the other night when I found him.
Wonder what happened to his evidence after he passed.
Well, I'm sure it disappeared too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's probably already been like debunked. You know what I mean? Like anybody can hire, like I always say this, if you like you watch those drug commercials, right? You can always find somebody that's for it, why it's great, and you can always find somebody that's against it, why you shouldn't. You can find a science for both sides if you want. It's easy. And this is sad, once somebody comes out with a debunk, that takes over the real for some reason. Yeah. Once you put that negative thought in somebody's mind, it's over. And they know this. They know, the government knows this.
Well, everybody, even between friends and family, you can do all the greatest things in the world. And as soon as you make one mistake, that's all they concentrate on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just like a golden rule, in social development.
Yep. And where's my Australian people in the chat? That famous Australian UFO story with all those school kids.
Oh yeah.
And they went and threatened that teacher or principal, like, well, if you ever say anything, we're gonna say you're drunk. We're gonna destroy your whole career where you're never gonna be able to have another job again. And that's what happened to the person on the Mary Island, where when the Men in Black visited him, the first written history, Men in Black told them, if you say anything, we're going to take everything away from you. You're going to say it never happened. Like your dog never died out in the middle of the ocean being hit by something. You're in the middle of the fucking Puget Sound. Well, something came from the sky. It wasn't a Boeing plane that crashed into him and broke the kid's arm, right? I mean,
Yep.
That's why I always tell people you got to put the clues together and all that. Like if he was lying about that story, then he'll probably be arrested for child abuse or something. He would have to say how did your dog die? How did your kid get a broken arm? You know what I mean? That's why I say people, you gotta.
They have so many ways to, even in the private sector, to send people on you just to destroy your life, just to make you miserable and for everybody to disbelieve you.
Now this one is Bill Snyder was a UFO theorist who mysteriously died in 1996 after speaking publicly about the government cover-ups and conspiracies. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Here's a person that just somehow mysterious died.
Yeah,
and this
I
one
watched
died
a few of his videos.
And this one's
I think
only
he was
1
an
minute.
engineer.
Yeah, I remember watching his videos.
Let's take a look.
Was a geologist and structural engineer from Oregon who claimed to have worked on top secret government projects involving
Hold on a second. First of all, people, I know Oregon. Oregon's the next state over. And trust me, Oregon are great people. They're great people. They're good, honest country folks out there in Oregon. So just saying, he comes from a state that are known to be good country people, and people, it's not Oregon, it's Oregon. Okay.
Oregon.
East Coast people call the state Oregon. It's not Oregon.
Oregon.
It's Oregon. Okay. Got to teach that to people.
Terrestrial technology. He spoke widely about his involvement with the construction of deep underground military bases and his knowledge of the government's purported involvement with aliens that they secured in trade for their advanced technologies. Schneider also claimed to have witnessed firsthand a battle between aliens and U.S. military forces at the Dulce underground base in New Mexico in 1979, in which he declared that he was one of 3 survivors of the incident. This led Schneider to start sharing his theories and his experiences publicly, giving speeches and interviews to various media outlets that would listen. But his life became increasingly filled with paranoia and danger. In 1996, after years of warning the public about the government's involvement with extraterrestrials, Schneider was found dead in his apartment in Wilsonville, Oregon. It was officially ruled a suicide, but some contend that his death was part of a clandestine government plot to bury his secrets along with the man himself. Like and follow for more great stories.
Yeah.
So this didn't have him talking. It just told about him. So I brought it up just for the fact I didn't know his name either, but Jane did.
Yeah. Well, I used to listen to all of his stories.
I know. So I know about this guy. Now I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe everything this guy has said. I always question when they start bringing into super soldiers fighting these aliens and stuff. But I will say his death was mysterious. There are questions about it that if you guys go out there, study this, that some of the stuff did not line up with the police, what was said, what was not said, what was in the, when they analyzed the body, it didn't match up what some of the police were saying. So like some people said it was suicide. Other people like, no, it wasn't. The evidence here doesn't show that it is. So that part is mysterious. And it's a hard one. It's a hard one because it is always a hard one for me to swallow when I hear that Americans being sucked up into Mars fighting other aliens wars. Sometimes I feel that's a little bit too science fiction, but it doesn't mean there's some truth in what he's saying. You know what I mean? I know, kind of like I go back to the Amityville horror house with the Lutz family. I believe the house was haunted, but they exaggerated the story, get the book made and all that.
Right.
And sometimes I feel some of these that there's things they know, but they start to exaggerate. We start bringing in the super soldiers. So
Right.
I'm just saying that I'm not 100% bored. I'm not on board with this guy at 100%, but his death is a mysterious one.
Right.
It's like we said earlier, you got to use your own discernment. You got to have a litmus test that makes sense to you, whether you believe people, don't believe them, or do you have like, okay, well, maybe there's a little bit here I can take away from this.
Let's see here. 1, 2. I think is it this one?
I think we're on 4.
Yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. Let me pull that one off. Like I said, I apologize. It opens it up in another tab. Sorry about that, people. So this guy is Lockheed Gunworks whistleblower Don Phillips discussed the use of UFO craft retrieved within the CIA. According to his story, there were secret reverse engineering and technology programs. Do you
Never heard of this guy?
Let's see.
Huh.
They say that yes, there were some captured craft from 1945 or 47, was it? In Roswell, New Mexico, and yeah, they were real. And yes, we really did get some technology from them. And yes, we really did put it to work. And we can thank people in the United States Army to have the foresight to put these into industry for the benefit of the people of the world. I know this to be a fact. We put it to use, but it took us a long time to figure out what it was, and then figure out how we can use it, and then what to use it for. And are those products useful for humanity? I didn't see the craft, nor did I see the bodies, but I certainly know some of the people that did.
His story, people, is almost a lot like what David Grush has come out and said. I've talked to the people who are close to these programs, but I have not actually seen it. It's almost script for script.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And another thing you got to think about is so many of these people come out and talk about these reverse engineering programs, and I'm sitting there, and what I mean is there's a lot of these stories, but a lot of these individual stories are never connected with another person. And I'm always like, well, how many of these crafts do we all have? I mean, out of 100 people that saying this, and they all, what I mean is they're not in the group with these other people who've seen it. Do we really have that many ships being worked on? I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, like how many are there? Like, and it's, so you have one, so you have one, you have one, you have one. My God, there's a lot of reverse engineerings out there. And when you have it, so many people come out with the exact same story, it makes it hard for you to know. Not all of them are true. But which one are? You know what I mean? It makes it harder.
Maybe that's what the difference is between the first guy or whatever that was actually involved in the case and saw it, but this guy can come out and say almost anything he wants, or Grush can come out and say because he wasn't directly tied.
Right.
And technically, all they really have to say is he say, well, the guy I was talking about was the first video that we saw. It was actually him. You know what I mean? like, and he probably was a janitor that was on base. That's, I don't know, but you know, and they can't say the name. They got to be fit because they got to. It's for their safety. I don't know. So they all be talking about the same person.
Yeah, true.
I mean, true. I mean, it could be.
And of course, they're passed on now from their earthly bodies, but there was no question that there are people or beings from outside the planet that have lived here for a long time. And it isn't just something new that's been happening in the last couple of years. There's been NATO research.
Hold on. That's a pretty good question that she put. If there are reverse engineering, then how come we can't do what they do? Well, some people say we are doing it. They're just not telling you that they have that technology. So there is that argument of them saying they actually do have it. But I get your point. If they have this, how come we're not seeing it today with some of our aircrafts? You know, or maybe that's what the experimentals that they're doing out in the desert.
And just like he said, now it takes them, I mean, they might not have the technology to figure it out or understand what it does. They can get it to work, but do they actually know how to apply it to anything? That's the question.
Sometimes
That's true, Danny.
They everyone's trash. You're right.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that, you know, the movie Independence Day might have it right is when they had that ship in their Area 51 and nothing came on until the mothership, you know, came to Earth,
Right.
and then everything lights up. You know, that could be true. That maybe they can't get it. They can't recreate the type of energy. I think that's the thing is if we have this reverse engineering, maybe we can't get it going because we can't recreate the energy that they're using, because they have to have some kind of energy that's able for them to come to Earth.
Right.
You know, and what is that energy? You know,
Why don't you
probably
say it more
can't
like
see it.
frequency? You know, and instead of energy, it's a certain frequency that they can't find that exact frequency to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then look at all the developments like we've talked about before on shows, you know, the last 100 years, the last 50 years. And it might not be exactly the alien technology, but it might have developed from that technology or pushed us in the right direction to develop whether it's the phones, cell phones, computers, chips, whatever. It might not actually be the alien technology itself, but it might have led us in that direction.
Yeah. There's God, fuck, what the name of it is. There's actually this TV show on Apple TV about this machine that's in this little hardware store, and it pops out cards and all that, and they don't know how it got there. It just showed up, and in the second season, it says you got to go to the next level, and they couldn't get it, but they have this other machine to make this sound, and they're playing with this box to make this sound to turn it on somehow, to turn on the certain kind of electricity it needs to go to the next level. And it was kind of neat in this show. It's oh God, I wish you know what I mean? I'm looking it up right now, and it's kind of interesting. It's called the Big Door Prize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting. The second season, they needed this sound, this frequency, to get it to go to the next level. It's exactly what you're just saying. Like, it might need that sound.
Yeah.
To start that energy, because energy is everything. Uh-oh. 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 Hold on.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The computer says almost out of power. So I got to plug it in.
Speaking of energy.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Yeah. Okay, we're safe.
Yay, you saved the day.
It's kind of funny. You guys are talking about that, and the little red thing came up. You are almost out of power. Like, oh shit!
There's also the technology where the alien entities have to be in contact with the ship because it's like a bionescence. It'll only light up and run if they are in contact with it. If their DNA in the ship is like a living.
Freaky Geek. No, it's not a reality show. It's a TV show, and it's like I said, it's called The Big. I know it sounds like a reality TV name, The Big Door Prize. It's just where this machine just showed up, and the card supposedly tell you what it's inside of you, like doctor. You're finding out that you're a dancer. So it's kind of a neat, weird, kind of a science fiction kind of a thing, but it has heart. It's about a family, and trust me, they almost had a threesome in the show. They almost did this because they're all reading the cards and they're all overboard and stuff in the show. The whole town's going overboard, but that's what makes it kind of fun. So it's actually a regular show, and they're only like 30-minute episodes, so they're not like It's not like one of those long ones.
I
But let's
haven't watched it yet, but I saw the trailer and stuff to it.
You know, I was so bored one day, like I seen everything. So I put it on, and I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of interesting. It's kind of a little science fiction in a way. They're all getting these prediction cards. In the second season, it says, "Are you ready for the next level?" And they couldn't get it started until they found that thing that makes this frequency sound. It's like 2 bars, and the way you move your hands creates a certain sound. And they had to like play a certain way, and then the machine just lights up blue. So it just reminded me exactly what you're saying. That
Sounds like a theremin. Sounds like the musical instrument, the theremin, where you got to go up and down with your hands to get it to certain tones.
Yes, exactly. It was, but I thought it was interesting. We got 2 more left, and then let's get to it. Okay, here's this one, and let me.
And then we gotta go. Hi.
It's already started. Like I said, people, I'm sorry that it takes me to another tab. Let me share the screen. Okay, this is a UFO whistleblower in 1958. Here we go.
Wow.
UFO whistleblower in 1958, naval aviator Donald Kifo. What would be the motive for withholding that information from us? All right. And this one's only 37 seconds. So are we going to get the answer, people, in 37 seconds?
It says part 1, so I'm assuming not.
That's true. Here we go.
Why do you believe that the Air Force says that nothing is going on? Why do you believe that it's a fairly serious charge that
I know it is.
You make the charge that the United States government is withholding from the people of the United States certain very important information. Why? What would their motive be for withholding that kind of information from us?
Well, I'll answer that, but I would also like to show you some proof that they are withholding it. The reason that was given to me when they were working with me back in 52 and 53 was, first, that they were afraid of hysteria.
All right. First of all, I'm going to put that link in the chat, people, so you guys could go find part 2 and stuff. Now, first of all, when the guy talked about, why is the Air Force holding it? I want everybody to know this. The military is not the one who makes the call on what they get to hold from the public. The Pentagon boss is the Secretary of State and the president. The government, the military works for the government. The government tells the military what they can say and what they can't say. So when people make the comment like the military is holding this, the military ain't holding nothing. They got their orders are from people most of the time never been in the military. The Secretary of State is who's in charge of the Pentagon. The president isn't overall. He's the master chief. People got to get that out of their heads. The military can't. The military says what they're told to say. Period.
Right.
And just like you said, that's what got Patton in trouble. Patton thought he was high enough up that he could voice his own opinion, and obviously he couldn't.
He couldn't.
Right.
He couldn't. Remember, Congress and all them, they're not military people. They don't give a shit what the military thinks. I hate to say it, but they don't. So get that out of the way. And now hysteria, that's more, I guess that's debatable, right? Because people say, we are ready to hear that kind of a truth. Some people are, some people aren't. No matter what, there would be some hysteria. There would be people that use the information on purpose for a breakdown. People are waiting for any excuse to break into houses, to take the law in their own hands. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but there are people that want to rule their own state. They want, you know what I mean? But not all. But the question is, are the American people ready for the truth? And that's
now, Danny says Kehoe is 100% real, so he's obviously heard of him before or his story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he hasn't really said anything that he's not right or wrong on,
Right.
I'm
assuming Danny probably has heard his story. I brought these people up because a lot of them, I don't know their names. And like the last video has like 10 or 12 people. They just tell who they are. It's like a quick list of who the whistleblowers that I've never heard of. So that's why I sent it to you.
Well, I can see that. I just click on UAP for me, and I see that his channel has a lot of clips. Like I won't even talk about Jeremy Corbell. Don't get me started, people, on Jeremy Corbell. I'm not gonna go down that road right now with Jeremy Corbell. I'm sorry, I can't. I think people know how I feel.
So I don't know where part 2 is. I don't even know if it's on that channel because I didn't go to the channel itself. I just watched that video.
But Danny is right. I heard the name, and he is more respected as a whistleblower than most. So if you had like a top 10 whistleblower, I guess you could say, for the UFO community, this guy Kehoe is definitely in the top 5 of more of being on the true side.
So the last one, like I said, it's a combination of just giving everybody's name and where they're from and what they're about. So it's not really their story or anything. So I put it in there so you could look at it or share it to the chat so people can watch it and maybe get some new names they've never heard of.
Yeah, well, this is what we're here for. This is the last video, people. So let's bring this up. It's called, I like this channel's name, Dark Truth 1020.
Wow.
It's only 2 minutes and 38 seconds, so we can listen to it all. Here we go.
Free UFO whistleblower. If I missed anyone, feel free to mention them in the comments. Jonathan Gray, officer of the U.S. intelligence community with a top secret clearance working for the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. David Fravor, a retired naval pilot and commander. Nat Kovitz, aeronautical engineer, director of advanced technology development and assessment, director of research and development, and program manager for advanced ships, foreign and shipbuilding. Carl Nell, former Army colonel. Gary Nolan, immunologist. Arthur Exon, Brigadier General. Jonathan Gray, officer of the U.S. intelligence community with a top secret clearance working for the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. Robert Sarbacher, physicist, consultant with the U.S. Department of Defense Research and Development Board. Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist. He worked on classified programs on nuclear aircraft, fission and fusion rockets, and compact nuclear power plants for space applications. Since the 1980s, he consulted for the radon detection industry. Friedman's professional affiliations included the American Nuclear Society, the American Physical Society, the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and AFTRA. Hamish, space security chief and brigadier general who headed Israel's aerospace and satellite programs for 30 years, made a grandiose claim in 2020 about a federation that exists with an agreement that we as a society are not supposed to know of their presence. Colonel Holanda from Brazil, a respected and high-ranking career military who claimed the U.S. was involved. Colonel Corso wrote an entire book about reverse engineering UFOs. He was no less credible than Grush, but still no one in power took it seriously. It's like 90% of the world is sleepwalking. Paul Hellyer, bizarrely similar, in 2005, who served as Canada's Minister of Defense, also made this claim under testimony of a federation that exists and has a level of no-contact agreement that was in place, as being revealed in a public official capacity could lead to too much of an abrupt shock to our belief systems and risks disruption to our way of life. Jose Carlos Pereira, brigadier from Brazilian Air Force. Luis Elizondo, former U.S. Army counterintelligence special agent and former employee of the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. Jim Schell, the former chief scientist for Air Force Space Command. Clifford Stone, U.S. Army Sergeant. Keller, biochemist who managed a AWSAP contract with Defense Intelligence Agency. Jesse Marcel, Lieutenant Colonel. Chase Brandon, ex-CIA.
Wow.
Walter Hout, Public Information Officer at the 509th Bomb Group. Thomas Dubose, Brigadier General. Arthur Exon, Brigadier General.
Wow.
And I'm also going to put that link in there in case anybody wants to look up any individual of these people. And I
There's
still
a few
have
names I never heard.
I still have, well, again, at the end of the day, it's hard for any one of us to prove who's telling the truth or who's not, because we've been lied to so much by the government. We've been lied to so much by people who are doing all this for money. And, it's almost like you don't know who's telling truth. You cry wolf so many times. Here's somebody who is telling the truth. You're so used to everybody lying, you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
and I do. That's why I listen to certain people that I trust and get their opinions on. I trust your guys' opinions, like Akashi Chris. I trust her opinion. Danny does a lot of reading and stuff. People don't know Danny does a lot of research. He reads a lot of books behind the scenes and comics and all that.
And comics, yeah.
And comics.
and comics. He sends me a lot of comics, and all that. And so
you can look up these people's names, and if you can find the real interviews or what they were actually saying in person, that's what I want to do. I want to look up these names and actually hear what they had to say, and then make my own decision on if I believe them or don't believe them.
And
if you can find the videos.
How many times all of us believed in something turned out to be not real, and how many times we probably not believe in something and it turned out to be real? I mean.
Right.
The true person is a person who will admit that they were right or they were wrong.
Yeah.
Not like, oh no, he can't prove me wrong. They're trying to find a way to make something true. So you got to admit it when something's right or wrong. So again, like I said, Jason Sands right now, he's just another new blood whistleblower until something changes where he could convince me that is real. That's how I look at it. That's for anybody. Jimmy Corbell to me is one of the most fakest Hollywood people out there. But again, I'll leave the door open for him to convince me that he's real or not real. The information that he receives is real. Because Corbell has never had experience himself. It's everything that he gets from other people. What's this fun fact? Gerald and Jane was in my comic book review. Are you guys in his book review, comic book review?
I have no idea.
We've tuned into Danny's channels a few times, so I don't know if we were in the chat or if he was saying we're actually our names are in a comic book. Maybe I don't know.
Sometimes I wonder if it's like a show get taken down because sometimes he'll go at night and play the old type of music or play some like old television, and you don't know what
triggers,
not strikes, but what would take you down or not.
So you don't have to say it here, but I actually want to know, how does your brother play all that music and not get taken down?
Yeah, he never gets striked.
I don't know how he freaking does it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got my channel taken down twice in the past, and he talks about the same thing. And you go to his channel, it's a lot worse.
Yeah. And he never gets in trouble.
He has gotten a strike here and there, but not enough where his channel ever got taken down. It's amazing.
But I played a song on our live 24/7 stream, this as a background. And it didn't have any artist, anybody attributed to it. I checked it out on Shazam to make sure it didn't come up on a hit, because they said they can find any song, from that app, and it didn't find a hit. So I thought, okay, I'm good. And YouTube cut us out right in the middle and says, when you get rid of this song, you can have your video feedback.
Yeah, they got us.
Well, if you guys remember last week or 2 weeks ago, one of the videos that I put up on TikTok is when I saw the movie Civil War, and I was letting people know what I felt about the movie, and I got hit with me using other people's footages, copyright infringement. And I'm like, how is that copyright when the whole video is just me talking and walking?
Oh my God.
And I actually had to appeal that. Like copyright, that's me. I mean, I'm not, it's me. It was walking the grass, and it was a live.
Wow.
It was live to TikTok. You know what I mean? So
I don't get it.
How they get people like someone copyright claim your voice, Eric. They might have. They might have. Like I
don't get it.
I wonder if I can show people here. Let me see here. I had to peel it.
I think we brought that up before. Remember, John Fogerty got in trouble for playing a Creedence Clearwater Revival song, and he's the one that's singing it. It was his own song. And they said, the court said, you sound too much like yourself.
I know it doesn't make sense. It's crazy. And what happens is once TikTok like puts that on a video for you to get any views now, it's over because they took it off. Now I just saw that where they actually reinstated it because I won the appeal because it was me. But it's the lowest view thing because they already once they put something on there, even when they restore it, it's already dead.
Yeah.
That's when you, in the middle of the week, sometime you need to re-air that as a premiere.
Oh,
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. But it's just hilarious. I'm like, I was just laughing so hard because, like, wow, I got busted for copyright when it was ugly old me on there. Like, did somebody else make the exact same video talking about the movie the exact same way I did it and walk the same steps that I did?
I don't get it.
I know, I don't get it. And like you're saying, me and Bob was doing a movie review on this old 80s movie. It wasn't The Blob. It was something like The Blob, where these people, this white thing foams out of their mouth. It was like a modern day blob. Nobody ever watches it. I remember we talked about it. We're doing a review, and during the show, they took it down because the company who owns that movie said, no, you can't talk about it. You can't show footages from it. And I'm sitting there like, nobody watches that goddamn movie. We're giving it kudos. we were probably helping 2-3 people to watch them. Oh, the movie was called The Stuff. It was called The Stuff. Like, nobody ever watches The Stuff. They should. Oh, right there. Right. Danny remembers The Stuff. I remember. They should be thanking us for talking about The Stuff.
Me and Jane were just talking about this subject last night. I brought up a video of The Wizard of Oz with the music of Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's 2 copyright restricted content together, and yet they can play that, but I can't play a stupid song as a background music.
Right. Yes, you played the Dark Side of the Moon album on the 3rd roar of the Lion, because the MGM. Right at the 3rd, you play it and it lines up. Like when you see the Yellow Brick Road, the song Money comes on. I mean, it really is freaky when you listen to the lyrics and how it lines up with the movie.
Yeah, we watched some of it for a while last night, and it's amazing how it was just falling right into place with the movie.
I'm doing a public domain movie tomorrow night, and I keep uploading ahead of time to make sure I don't get hosed. Hey, but you know what? But even on YouTube, you could upload something, and it'll say no copyrights on it, but they can still get you later on. I'll still once in a while get an email saying, oh, this copyright was claimed. I'm like, okay, they want the nickel, go have it. You can have the 3 pennies.
I get the email for our intro of our Piercing the Veil shows because I have a video of the tree spinning, and then I have Tubular Bells playing the Exorcist song, the theme song, but it's not from the original artist. It's from somebody else, and there's no words or no nothing to it. It's just the sound. And they keep giving me a content or a copyright match, but nothing's going to happen to it, and we're not going to take it down. So it's like, why did you even email me that then?
Right.
Here's a trick that I've always done, and it usually works. Like Mindfork, like I have another account that I create, and when I want to show a video on my actual channel, I'll upload it to my other channel. Like here, for example, all these videos I want to show, these are all like news footages and all that. And what I would do is all these videos. Oh, here we go. Now I put them in private. I do this for one reason. I look over at the restrictions to see if any of these videos have a restriction. And like this one here, there's a copyright on here for this video. and then I'll see details on what kind of copyright is it. Is it just sharing? Is it this? And then whatever, like then I'll take a chance more on certain videos. But that's what I do. If you have another channel, use that channel as the dummy channel to upload certain videos to see if there's any kind of restrictions on them. And any video that comes up as it's copyrighted, of course, I deleted off this, and I won't even take that chance. But that's one of the tricks that I do. And I keep it on there for a few days because, again, like I said, even though a video might not have a restriction that day, 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days later, it might be. And I check it in the long run to see if there's a restriction. Now, and if you do get hit with a restriction, you can actually fight it the first time. Like I already have a paragraph already for me that talks about fair act. I use it, see if they'll release it to me. And 8 out of 10 times they will release it to you. And the only reason why you do that is because if there's a restriction, YouTube pause down that video. It won't let it get shown. Now, if they don't, then you don't want to fight it the third time, because if you do and you lose, they'll automatically give you a strike.
Okay.
But I always try, and a lot of times I can get them released if I tell them that I'm using your video as education piece, which I actually do. Like all the videos you show, if it does pop up as a copyright later on, I'll just say, hey, I was using it to educate the people on your footage, and you say nice things. A lot of times they'll let it release to you.
Okay.
So that's just a little inside, and all that. But we went over the hour, but no problem. But are you guys doing a show tonight or anything? What are you guys doing tonight or tomorrow or next day?
No, not tonight. Our next show is actually going to be Sunday. And we have Barb Horn Hartman on, and we're going to be talking about her Bigfoot experience.
Ooh.
And other than that, our 24-hour stream is actually going right now. So we do have a 24-hour stream going, but just not a regular show.
So we're on live here, and we also have our live cameras on our channel right now.
Watching birds.
And again, you're that's already in my description on this video. But so if you're watching this later on, you could just go to the description and click on Midwest. And let me tell you guys, if you don't know them, they're good, honest people, and they give their opinion. They're like me. It's just your opinion. None of us push our beliefs onto anybody.
Saturday night, we are going to test Rumble. We're going to stream to hopefully our YouTube channel, and Robert Bauer. If you ever heard of Professor Bauer, he's on Nexus Nextcast, and Jim Goodall. I'm sure everybody knows Jim Goodall's name in the UFO world or whatever. He comes on the show with us, and we just chit chat and have fun. And Mr. B from Australia, the True Seekers, he has his own channel. So 4 or 5 of us, including Heidi Popplepop. Well, Heidi Popplepop. Heidi will come in, and so we just talk about growing up or what's going on today or UFOs.
And Jim is such a good guy. He is. He is just so nice. I would sit there and like, how can anybody be this nice?
Right.
He's nice, and he doesn't care how big or small a channel is. You invite him, he's available. He'll just come on. And he'll talk whatever you want. And you got to love that. And the guy still goes out there and investigates.
Right. Yeah.
He still does it. That's what I love about it. He's inspiration.
So every Saturday night, if he's not at a conference or traveling somewhere or meeting somebody, he comes on and pops in with us and one night we did 5 hours.
just talking about nothing.
5 hours. Wow.
That was great.
So that'll be this Saturday night on Robert Bauer's channel on YouTube and Rumble, and on our YouTube channel. And we by the time we actually get there Saturday, we might have it on 6 channels, whether it's Facebook's, YouTube's, Rumble, X. I don't know where we're going.
Yeah, we're
Hey,
trying to do as many platforms as possible.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the only way you could do it nowadays, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I truly do believe that YouTube, for our kind of material, they do kind of boil us down on purpose.
Yeah.
I do. I think maybe tomorrow I'll show it. I actually sent an email to YouTube about, are you shadow banning us? And they sent
Hmm.
me this long ass email back about the word shadow ban. Maybe I'll share that with people.
Oh.
It's kind of
Huh.
like very interesting. Like just the wordage, how they use it. Like, no, we never shadow ban. We don't shadow
Oh,
ban anybody. It's
bull.
this is what you're doing wrong. You know what I
Bull.
mean? And it's kind of an interesting email. I think I only showed it with one other person and all that, because they sent me a long ass email. Maybe tomorrow I'll come live and I'll show people that email, that because I did ask them, are you shadow banning me? I
And
mean,
they wouldn't lie. No, they wouldn't lie to
I've
you.
been doing this since 2018. It seems like I'm never getting pushed, but you get these new kids on the block, the goody two shoes, they're all getting pushed. But all of us seem like we have to use Rumble, we have to use TikTok,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
try to get the word out. But these newcomers come in, the good people, whatever, and they get all pushed out. Yeah, there's no shadow ban my ass.
Yeah.
That's the whistleblowers we need to get a hold of. I want to get a hold of somebody inside YouTube that actually knows what's going on. Let's get them whistleblowers out there.
So
A YouTube
beyond-
whistleblower.
Yeah. So beyond that, everybody, I don't have a link yet for tomorrow, but I'll work on creating a link for tomorrow. And beyond that, I want to thank you both for jumping on. I love getting different people's opinions on the UFO stuff, because it's a subject that I love. And some people think I'm too harsh, or sometimes I don't know how. If I don't believe somebody's a whistleblower, I don't know how that's too harsh. But
Right.
but I do appreciate you guys jumping on. So beyond that, guys, I guess I'll leave you today with the intro. Should I do Howard the Duck? That's kind of sci-fi. I'll just go with Dr. Wu, making love to the sky. Here we go.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass. Did you see it?